Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Long Island Splat 4 here at Aeon Gaming, hosted by Gen Game TV. And I am Melissa Acid Sunshine, and I'm joined by Hangman today. So, you ready?
I am. This is what we've been saying is going to be a little bit of a look into the future for what we've got later on in the bracket. We have Invertebrats versus Demise.
Yeah.
Going to be a bit of a fun one, especially since we're starting Humpback Pump Track on Clam Blitz.
Oh, yeah. These are the two teams that are kind of like set to be the house favorites, if you will. Demise is a local team. Obviously, they're also a sponsored team that many people within the Splatoon competitive community are familiar with. And they're going up against Invertebrats, which is a pickup made by Hitzel here. So, you know, definitely a really, really strong competitor for them. So looks like everyone's getting hyped, though. Everyone's just looking to have a really good time today, and I can't wait to watch this round 4.
Now, all of the players that are involved here are they're veterans to the scene. They play at a competitive level pretty consistently. I feel like this is a really good game one to just like help break the mold a little bit, just because Clam Blitz itself is naturally a bit chaotic. But Humpback, I feel, is a really good complementary map to it because there's a good amount of strategy here. It lends itself well to like the really traditional baller play, or to trying to go for different types of converging paths on if you want to try and go for like 2v2 strikes, how well you want to hold center stage. There's all sorts of different, more traditional Splatoon ideas that lend itself to an unconventional game mode. And I think we get to see good play of that from both of these sides.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I love Clam Blitz. I love watching it. I love playing it. Absolutely everything about it. So I'm super excited to watch them play today. You know, it's always really fun for me, too, to watch a lot of these players who I get to see in a couple of other online tournaments play in person. So that's really fun. It looks like right away, Gons is making this flank. Unfortunately, does get spotted and gets taken out. So this is really, look at how far Demise is pushed up.
Yeah, that map is looking mighty purple very quickly on, and I feel like this is a very important map to maintain that type of ink control because you want to stay mobile. You want to make sure that there's paths for your team to reposition themselves or to fall back on especially. I feel like area control is pretty difficult for Humpback. So, like, if you have those ways to escape, reposition yourself, try and fall back while you still have your clams intact, it's going to be important either way, but we see First Blood go in favor of Demise.
Definitely. I think also something to be talked about here is having this Tenterbrella on the side of Keen. This is a really nice pick for Clam Blitz. It's something that we've been seeing a lot more recently, and it's definitely making its way into the Clam Blitz meta, so to speak. So I'm interested to see how Keen continues to use this. Right now, it looks like Invertebrats is kind of working to make a push. Hitzel does have a power climb. Unfortunately, I think goes down to Gons there, so that's really not going to help them a whole lot. They have a double Tenterbrella. I didn't even realize this. So really, really interesting pick here.
Actually, that's a single Tenterbrella, but I think what...
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. The reason I'm bringing that up is just because that was Keen's own launched Brella that gave him the control. And I think it was just really smart play from his half, like establishing his own defense while the rest of his team was gathering up. And I think that level of thinking... Oh, you can't think much with a hammer like that.
Oh, those hammers.
This is another new special that I haven't really gotten a chance to see and play, but it's definitely good for breaking the line. I'll give you that.
Oh, yeah. The stamp is definitely something that's really, really broken here. And, you know, something that if you can play it well, you are pretty invincible. But this is really where Invertebrats is looking to push forward. They do get 9-point lead. So I'm not sure if that's going to be enough, and it looks like, unfortunately, everyone who is working on that push is down or out of position. So that's going to be the end of it. Great cleaning up on the side of Demise. And they're just going to wait for a minute for their Pity Clam to respawn and kind of see if they're going to push forward right away.
I think it's a fairly safe game that Invertebrats sits on, just because there's not a lot of penalty points. They don't have to worry about if someone breaks forward and tries to needlessly break. However, Demise making a much more convincing push, especially as they establish a pick, steal some clams of their own, and just further push. This is an onslaught.
This could be it here. Henry did get 3 in. I'm not sure if they have any more, but finally it looks like Invertebrats is beginning to come back in, but they're just not paying attention to who's below the basket right there. So they do get a couple more in, bringing the point down to 17, which is a fantastic lead for Clam Blitz.
Yeah, now they're sitting pretty. And even though the penalty points aren't really that inviting, with a minute and a half left on the clock, 17 points is pretty safe to sit on.
Yeah, it's a really nice one that they can kind of play a really strong defense. That's something they're willing to do. Of course, you always want to go for the knockout, especially in this map because it's a really small Clan Blitz map. But, you know, it's definitely something where you can look around and see, okay, you know, what am I doing here? How am I going to move forward? At what point can you just run it? And at what point do you need to wait for the rest of your team to be ready? Because it's never really a good idea to just break right in and take control. But it looks like sometimes it can be done.
A little bit of a haphazard break there from the Invertebrats. They get a few points on the board, but they're going to need a bit more of a convincing push. However, it gets opened back up again by Dreas.
Nice job by Dreas there. Someone else jumping in, but they are guarding that jump spot. They got the power climb in. Absolutely wonderful there. You jump in, throw the power climb in, and get right out as fast as you can. They're getting one more. If they can get 2 more in, they have the lead. So it doesn't look like anyone someone's jumping in.
Oh, hold on, from the backside, and all of a sudden they have the lead.
Beautiful, absolutely wonderful play. They have 6. They just need 2 clams in, and they've completely shut out this game.
How did this lead slip away from Demise?
Jumped
so quickly.
They just jumped in. I think Demise just wasn't paying attention to those jump points. They weren't really expecting anyone from Invertebrats to do it, and they did. Even still, Demise has 2 power clams right now. I mean, this can trade back at just as fast.
Not if those power clams aren't in the hands of any squids, getting traced very quickly. All of a sudden, Invertebrats takes a standhold of this game. They get the break. They throw another one in. They only need like 3 clams, right? Now, how about that? How about taking the lead?
Oh my gosh, absolutely crazy game. This is why Clan Blitz is so good to me. Watching those types of play, and when you have such great teams like you have Demise and Invertebrats right here, absolutely amazing players. I think we even heard like Hitzel going off back there, which is so much fun to listen to too.
It's worth noting that he's playing. He's really far from us. If we're hearing him pop off,
he is, absolutely wonderful job there.
Like that was, they got really intense really quickly. And like you said, as we got into this game 1, the start to it a little bit slow, but once momentum starts moving its way and teams start, you know, going back and forth into who's got the control, this got super aggressive super quickly.
Oh yeah, that's what's so nice about Clan Blitz too, because you can just literally trade control and whoever gets the lead, drop of a hat, as fast as you blink, the game could completely change what's going on. So, you know, here coming in, I'm waiting for the opportunity when that push actually started. Hitzel goes down with a power clam, so that's not quite it. I feel like this is where it's sort of beginning, where Arashi comes in with this hammer that we were watching before, gets a couple of picks there. Somebody does jump out. Oh, it's absolutely crazy.
The Brella play is also especially interesting to see from both sides, even though we saw that Trenta gave plenty of cover from Keen when he was using it both for himself as well as for the rest of his team. It was a very interesting pull, but nonetheless, excellent play from both sides. Very impressed with Demise being able to clutch that the way that they did.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. And Demise here, like, just guarding this basket, you know, their team play and their map awareness was really good, but when everybody's respawning right on top of you, it's very difficult to kind of stay alive. I think that's what made this reverse push so important here. So I don't think we're going to get to see any more of these replays because we're loading into our next game, which I didn't even get kind of what it is. Gobi Arena Splat Zones.
Ooh, all right. So given how well coordinated both teams were in game 1, this is going to be a very fun game too as we follow. Let's take a quick look at the weapons before we go right into it. And Keen swapping out his Chancer for the Explosion. How do you think this is going to give a bit of cover here as we try to go for splat zones?
I think the Explosion is actually a pretty good pick on this map. It's kind of difficult when you're looking at Explosion when you have a map that has a lot of grates or something because those lobs sort of like go right through. So this is a pretty good one, but unfortunately Keen does get taken out by that Stingray, and this gives Demise an opportunity to take an early lead and make a pretty good push with that.
Actually, pretty convincing push from Demise. This is like I was establishing earlier. Like a golden rule of splat zones is that you want to press so that your team is fighting ahead of the zone, just so you have safer room to fall back on. You have safer time to just build up your lead. And Demise starting that off very early, very convincingly. Invertebrats pushed very deeply into their own territory, and this isn't that great of a map to do that for, just because you have a good amount of space to cover.
Ooh, that was a little bit of a bloodbath right there. Different players jumping in from different teams. This is the exact reverse of what you were talking about. A moment ago, Demise had pushed Invertebrats all the way into their zone. Now it's reverse. Invertebrats has pushed Demise all the way in. Hitzel looking for an opportunity for where they kind of want to set up, make sure that he's in a good position, and stay alive from that Stingray, which, you know, the Stingray is going to follow him as much as he possibly can.
It was such a good call out on Hitzel's movement, too. Like, the Stinger user knew that Hitzel was going to try to be evasive, called him out on both sides, blasted him apart, and just like that, like, they're not able to get the full clear, but Invertebrats still holding with their lead. They're still fighting for control back and forth.
Beautiful pick by Arashi, exactly what they needed, making sure to get A. And this is really where, you know, those missiles coming out too, just to kind of help make sure they know positioning of players even, but just the way that Demise is moving throughout, and all of a sudden they have the map, just looking for Arashi, and Arashi's movement is really good right now. Unfortunately, he finally does get found out and goes down.
Even with that, Invertebrats still managing to take control away from Demise. This is very similar to what we saw in Game 1, Melissa. We saw how they were able to fight back and forth regardless of how convincing the fights were, and the points are reflecting that very well.
Absolutely. Even having this Stingray come out again, I'm wondering, I mean, it's been doing really great job both for offense and for defense on the side of Demise, but I'm wondering if maybe they would have been able to hold zone a little bit longer if they picked a special that paints a little bit better. So right now, you know, it really looks like that's what Invertebrats has on them, that they're picking specials that are able to paint zone every single time. But that was the lead for Demise, so this is really putting Invertebrats on the offense. They have to push really hard to make sure that they get this.
And given the point differential, those penalty points are going to be deadly for Demise. The next cap they get needs to be their full push. Otherwise, Invertebrats could be bringing a 1-1 point score on the board.
Definitely. This is really where they're looking for. Like you said, the next push needs to be really coordinated. Dreas, if Dreas can get that pick on Henry, does get it. But, you know, the Booyah coming out, knew everyone's friends here, so they all knew exactly what they were looking for here. Only 2 seconds left, and this is it. The lead went back to Invertebrats, so great job there. And this is where Demise really needs to be paying attention, getting the picks that they need to try to get this lead back, because not a lot of time for them to do it.
3 seconds of counting left, and that's going to be that. Game 2 going to Invertebrats. I think I heard Hitzel pop off at that one, too. He's feeling it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Everyone's looking like they're having a great time there.
You know, it's worth noting that, like, Hitzel as an individual has so much energy behind him, and, like, the rest of the members of his team, they're much more reserved individuals, but the fact that they can match Hitzel's, like, rhythm in play is just so impressive.
Completely.
Bit of a oop.
Oh, is this the push? Okay, so this is that game 1 push that we were looking for earlier. So here it is. Literally, Dreas just doing everything they possibly can. This is where it mattered. So that first jump, even though they went down, they were able to get that power clam in, and someone is just waiting under the basket. Every single time they jump in again, Hitzel was already in the process of the jump when the other teammate went down. So every single time that they jumped in, they got a few single clams in. That's how they were able to get that point so low.
The level of tension that was in this game 1 set the tone for the rest of this set, because right there, as we saw, the lead of 7 points die out with so little time left on the board. You could feel that even here in Game 2, where the zone was going back and forth, and the differential in points started to decrease further and further and further as the points got lower and lower.
Absolutely.
It was a very convincing closeout from Invertebrats, but I think it just continues the tone that's set by Game 1, where, like, it's not going to be an easy fight from either of these teams. Tensions are going to be high, and they're going to have to keep up the solid play.
Very true. I think that so far, you know, this has been a really nice preview. If these are our top 2 teams to see in the grand finals, this has been a really nice preview of some really awesome matches to come. What's it looking like we're going in for our 3rd game here?
It's seeming like we're going to see splat zones on Macomart. Now, this has been a map mode combination we've had the pleasure of seeing excellent play on time and time again here on stream, and I expect no less from both of these teams.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to watch this. I really enjoy Macomart as a map in general. I think that it's really fun to play. It has awesome design. It's just really beautiful. So I'm really saying really way too often, but it's going to be so much fun to watch this. So here we go with Game 3 Invertebrats versus Demise on Splat Zones on Mako Mart.
Both teams get themselves ready. We get a quick preview of the weapons that are looking out, and saw a nozzle burst from one side. See how Arashi brings that to the table. All right, this will be pretty fun to see. I think just a lot of ink coverage from both sides. It sort of calls back to what I was bringing up earlier with how important it is to be able to move around this map a bit more freely. But we'll see.
Definitely. I think also having, bringing out the dualies is something really interesting for this map too, because it offers a lot of opportunity for dualies to move throughout the map. A lot of these alleys are pretty narrow, but if you can, dodge roll correctly, you can get out of a really tight situation. So Henry getting a really nice pick with that inkjet. Unfortunately, does go down. Arashi pops their own inkjet and able to kind of get a couple of picks here. So this is going to put Invertebrats in a really good situation to get a decent lead here.
These are very bold inkjet calls from these players, just because they're popped right in the face of their opponents. It's very easy to get yourself popped out as you start up, but nonetheless, it's giving a good amount of control to Invertebrats. I'm impressed to see how well Invertebrats manages to push back Demise, because we've seen Demise swing back pretty heavily when they pull the momentum back into their favor, and they're doing just that with a series of specials. Baller leads the way, Bubbles follows suit, but all it does is really take away control. It doesn't have it of their own.
Yeah. This is where Demise has now the upper hand here. 3 down on the side of Invertebrats as they all respawn and push back together. They're going to have to be careful of Henry's blaster. Beautiful shot, Andreas there, just waiting for the rest of the team of Invertebrats to drop down and face that blaster. And this is lead for Demise.
It's really just a matter of how well we can hold the lead, because they're not able to press too deep into this map. One of the good things about Mako Mart, I feel, is that, like, unlike a lot of other splat zone maps where you could confidently press forward into the enemy territory and hold the fight there, it's just too open-ended, and it has very forgiving flanks. It's very easy to move around, very easy to take back the point, so that firefight is unfortunately forced to be pretty uncomfortably close to the splat zone itself.
Absolutely. I think this is really also, because it's very difficult, you have to really work very hard to lock your opponents into their base, because there's, like you said, so many opportunities for you to move around. So I think that that's something that if you're moving far forward, you just need to watch your flanks really carefully. Make sure that the other players aren't doing that and coming around. So Arashi, paying attention, making sure they know exactly where people are. And this could be it. They don't really have a lot of time for Demise to break back in and take zone.
Yeah, no, if they're going to do it, they're going to have to get it done right now. But it's not looking like it's the opportunity, as Invertebrats secures Game 3 and now sits with a 2-1 lead. Invertebrats laughing it off as they keep their aggression forward onto Demise.
Very nice job there. They played really well. They made sure that they kind of knew what they were doing. And I think that this is the opportunity they've been looking for.
Unlike the previous 2 games, this one looked pretty confidently into Invertebrats' favor. We saw a couple of reversals in Demise's half, and I think that was just really downplayed by the fact that every time they got a little bit of control, Invertebrats was able to turn it back around into their favor so confidently.
Completely. I think they played just so well, and I'm really, really excited to see what we get for Game 4 here.
Now, given where they're able to potentially bring themselves, I'm curious to see if we're going to get another splat zone map, just because that was just played super, like, by the book, nothing super fancy. It just worked really well. It looks like, as things move around, Rainmaker to Inkblot is going to be the pick.
All right, so our Game 4 is going on to Rainmaker at Inkblot Art Academy. Interesting pick. I'm not too familiar with what Demise's favorite mode is and, what they're kind of really strong at, simply because I don't remember, but I think that this is a really strong pick because in general, Rainmaker is something that, you can kind of get out of control, but this map handles it really well. And I think that it's a really good pick for them to really see what they're able to do.
Yeah, the last time we saw this particular combination on stream, it was very much the back and forth, and it wasn't until players broke the line where they were able to really make a dent in the map going one way or the other. I'm curious to see if that's going to be a similar note for this game, given these 2 teams. And generally speaking, I feel like this could go to... I think this is a solid pick for Demise. as a whole.
I completely agree. I think that it's going to be really fun to kind of watch and see how everything comes together here. So I'm so excited to watch this come together, and I'm wondering kind of what's going on here on the side of Invertebrats. They're picking what they want to do and just waiting for everything to be perfect before they press those OKs.
Looks like both teams are, instead of getting ready, just showing messages, sharing memes. That's
Totally.
what the Splatoon community is all about.
Oh, we're one big meme.
Like, competition is the footnote to true memery. Let it be known. Let it be etched in stone.
See puns and fun memes. And here we go, Rainmaker on Inkblot Art Academy.
Nothing too different as far as the weapons are concerned.
Tinsel on the Zinc Mini. We haven't seen that from him yet today. Arashi also pulling out those light tetratoids, I believe.
We'll see how they come into play here. I feel like this is a good map for the sake of mobility, and I feel like there is no better Splatling, or at least in Hitzel's hands when it comes to Zinc Mini. This could be a very dangerous map for Demise now that I think about it. Like, regardless of the fact that Invertebrats took the initial lead of 81, this is just like a really solid movement-oriented map. And we've seen Invertebrats as very well coordinated movement.
Completely.
So
Dre's getting a beautiful pick there, too.
If the line just keeps on getting broken like this could be a very quick finish.
Wow, a full team wipe on the side of Demise. This is really what Invertebrats is looking for to kind of move that Rainmaker as far forward as they can. They do have it picked up right now, and I wonder how much they're going to be able to push. But with Dre's going down, it might not be enough for them. They just Hitzel was up.
Hitzel a particularly interesting choice for opting to carry the Rainmaker. You'd think he would want to press forward and pave the way for his team, but I guess, with nothing left to do, may as well get a few extra points down. And 48 is a pretty solid enough lead.
Definitely. I think that this is what they've been looking for so far. And finally, it seems like Demise is ready to push forward, but unfortunately, 3 of them go down, so it's just 2A and Gons that are over by the Rainmaker and just waiting. But I think they're just going to let it reset at this point. I think both teams are just waiting for it to reset so that they can be ready to pick it up and push forward again.
Solid reset with not a lot of points down on Demise. I feel like Demise just needs to really lock down where Invertebrats can move. I feel like if in control is established better, or if they maybe opt to be a little bit more aggressive with their fighting back. Like, right there was a really good opportunity for Demise, getting out 2 picks on Invertebrats as they attempted to pave their way forward.
Yeah, exactly kind of what they needed there. Dre is getting the nice picks that they needed and just kind of looking for an opportunity to take a few people out. Beautiful trade there, but with Henry, so that's going to help. And a couple more people are jumping in from Invertebrats. So really, they just want to work on painting, making sure that they have an opportunity to move forward once they pick up that Rainmaker before they just push forward without no avenues to go.
This is what I was talking about earlier. Like, this is what Demise needs to do. They make sure that their area, like ahead of their spawn, entirely their own ink. They don't want to give Invertebrats the opportunity to press forward and start to pave forward for where the Rainmaker could go. Yeah, they haven't pushed forward on their own right, but they need to play things a little bit more defensively right now until they get themselves into a position to strike.
I completely agree. Even this inkjet coming out from Henry, Arashi looking to try to get that pick, does not get taken out. So this could be where Demise is getting ready to push forward. They did use the one special, but they're pretty quickly building up their other ones. I bet they're working on a push here. 2 go down. I think that's not going to happen right now.
Yeah, they're waiting patiently for the opportunity, but it's not finding themselves. Invertebrats doing a very good job of keeping this a dead even right now. While they themselves aren't in that great of a position to press forward, at least they win out if they keep the dead even, given the points on board.
Completely. Having that Stingray come out, use it as like pretty good defense. One of the team members jumps out there, so it's really not going to help them a lot. And they're just waiting, exactly like what you said. Invertebrats is playing a slow game a little bit right now. They know that they have the lead, and even though 47 is not like truly a great lead that you want to call a game on, I think they're just going to play it slow right now until they have an opportunity to push again.
They're going to grab it, try to put a little bit of more life into this game, but if they can't pave the way further with their ink, I don't know if that's going to happen. Even a little bit less than a minute on the clock.
Beautiful sharking there.
So good. Arashi's so good at being able to track a particular opponent and just ghost them. Make sure to pick when the time is right. And this auto bomb rush doing a lot of work for covering the space. I've said this before, but the chicken bombs are just disgusting how well they can control an area passively. Like, they're just around. Whether or not someone is there for them to hunt, like, they're still going to patrol the area well enough. And we have 7 of them on the board. It's not very fun.
No way. It's definitely a scary bomb to face down on. But if you're prepared for it, maybe sometimes you can get away. It was great for Arashi right there. And this is really it. It looks like Demise isn't really going to... I mean, they're getting in position here. Maybe they can make a push. The Rainmaker carrier just needs to stay alive. They just used the Inkjet, so that's not going to be enough help to keep cover here. And this is kind of the time for Zero to push forward. I'm wondering if they're going to be able to do it.
I mean, this is their last opportunity to strike if they want to bring this into a Game 5. Inkster's going to say otherwise for Zero to reposition poorly, and he can't really afford to fall back any further. Any time of retreat on the clock is going to kill off what they have left, and what they have left is about 30 seconds left in overtime before that Rainmaker decides enough's enough.
Yeah, that Rainmaker is clicking down pretty quickly. This is where Zero really needs to move forward. 18 seconds. I'm not sure Zero's going to be able to make this push very quickly. He just needs to really move and stop stalling it out, because unfortunately he's not gonna get it. Yeah,
no. Time's up for him with 6 seconds in counting. Pushed back too far. He's not going to be able to go for the points. He's going to make the do or die push, and pop it goes. Unfortunate end, but that's how it goes. Invertebrats going to be winning this set 3-1.
Wow, absolutely wonderful set to watch. And if our predictions are right, that was a little preview of what our grand finals are going to look like tonight. So I'm really interested to see, what goes down here and how these players do this. Look at this KA too. Like,
Dreas is headhunting out here.
Oh yeah, Dreas is popping off. Like, amazing.
Mans wasn't even playing Rainmaker. This is team deathmatch for him. And it was such a good way to play the map, too, because he kept on single targeting out whoever was going to be the most problem for Invertebrats. Whether it was someone who was at the high ground, someone who was attempting the Rainmaker. Like, he was just able to tag so many members of Demise that Invertebrats was able to mostly focus whether it was pushing the Rainmaker or just making sure that the map control was neutral.
Exactly, and that's exactly what you want to see. If you're not ready to push, you need to make sure that map is neutral so the other team can't. This is where Zero was constantly able to pick up the Rainmaker throughout the game, just not get it far enough across the field. So, it's interesting to see how they'll perform moving on for the next couple of games if they see each other again, and, what happens later.
Yeah, I have a good feeling we'll be seeing a run back at some point during the day. However, Demise definitely going to have to put a bit more work ahead of themselves, just because it seemed like at every opportunity, like, they just couldn't move past Invertebrats.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just an unstoppable wall for them at multiple points during this game, and this was something we didn't even see really throughout the rest of the set. Like, Game 4 truly looked hopeless for Demise, and that's not something that I could say freely about this team.
I agree. I think that it's going to be really interesting. I loved this play. Arashi sharking around, knew the Rainmaker was coming. When you saw that previous from above, you saw Arashi was there, just waited for that opportunity for the Rainmaker carrier, came up, take him out. That's exactly what you need.
It's just a good sense of awareness that needs to be appreciated about, like, this level of play in particular.
This is really where Zero needed to just kind of push forward and rush it. And, I understand the hesitation there because they knew that Arashi was up there. I'm sure their teammates were calling out, not yet, not yet, wait for it, waiting for the opportunity to get enough members of Invertebrats down, and it just didn't come.
This was the part, I feel like, where they just knew that it wasn't going to happen. With 15 seconds left on the clock, he could have climbed the wall, made a bum rush, trying to get past at least to the 46-point marker. That's all he needed. But once he got down into this little flank area, it was curtains.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. You're just not going to be able to move.
I think this is the saddest part, too. As he goes to press forward and then pop.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad.
Oh, man. That replay, though.
He had it too. Like, he had the avenue to move. If he was like 4 seconds, I think 4 seconds of straight movement, if he just beelined it, he would have been clear.
Yeah, I
But
completely
alas.
agree. That's how Rainmaker works. Unfortunately, you just need to be ready to push it forward. So,
As they say, it be like that.
yes, it does.
It truly do.
Yes, it does.
But nonetheless, once again, I think we can get the run back. This is indicative of what we could see later on. But we are going to cut to a quick commercial. Make sure to stay tuned because we do have round 5 of play coming up soon.
See y'all soon.